Well, good morning, and thank you for joining us for today's episode of Redefining Real Estate. I'm Brian Dobbs. So glad that you can make it today. And by the way, it is Thanksgiving week, and we pray a special blessing over you and your family. Want you to be safe and enjoy your family, and just think of all the things that you can be thankful for, because there are so many things around us that too often that we overlook or we just don't take into account. But I want to encourage you to really dive deep into what's around you and be thankful for even your breath and even the ability to walk, to run, to play, to enjoy the weather, to enjoy the comfort of your own home and your family. So pray that God's richest blessings on you this Thanksgiving holiday. So today we have some really special guests. I want to encourage you to stay tuned. Holly Haggard is going to be with us. We have Shannon Williamson currently in the studio. Lyndon Wilson, fantastic friend of mine and just really neat colleague to have. And then we have Brian Poduska coming up to talk a little bit about his show on The Difference. So thank you so much for joining us again today. And if you have any questions or comments, please add that into the chat box and we'll address them if we can. And if not, then we'll get back to you shortly after with the answer. So thank you guys very much. Appreciate it. Lyndon?
Sir, what's going on?
So it's behind curtain number one.
That's
Lyndon
me.
Wilson.
That's me. I like that.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Good. Doing well. I am doing well. You know, it's kind of a dreary, cloudy, overcast, kind of cold and wet day, and I'm sitting in my home office with short sleeve shirt. I think it's 71 degrees here. It feels like the Caribbean. I'm enjoying life. You can make a beach atmosphere anywhere you are, as long as you have a good heater and some air conditioning.
That's true. That's true.
It's fantastic. I should have like a little light fan over there that has the breeze blowing, but whatever. So
funny.
Anyway, let's bring in Shannon.
All right, here she is.
Hey guys.
Hi, Shannon.
Good morning, Shannon.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
I think Shannon's going to eventually be here with us.
Oh, she's in there.
Is she in there?
Yeah, okay. I think your internet's dragging a little bit today, Brian. We're getting a little bit of blurry in and out video, and you're freezing up a little bit every once in a while.
Okay. So if you have to minimize me today, I want to tell you I'm getting a new internet service. Not going to knock mine. I'm not going to tell you what I have, but oh my goodness, it has been extremely challenging. You can plug into a wall. You might have to lift up your left foot to get a good internet connection. You know, you have to hop, skip. I mean, we're just dealing with things like that. So again, Lyndon, if you have to minimize me and you know, I'd put Shannon's picture up there instead of yours.
I will.
Okay, just FYI.
I understand.
So, Shannon, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, thank you. Something I'm thankful for sure is definitely the cooler weather. I grew up in New England, and so it's always weird to me when we enter, you know, the winter time and it's still 75 degrees. I'm like, this does not feel normal.
It is extremely normal, and I love it around here. I actually had an opportunity. I went to Aruba, and they said the winter was 80 and the summer was 82, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is the life for me. I know that a lot of people need to see snow and feel that cold. I can buy a postcard and I am good.
That's all you need.
I don't really like cold, but I do like the changes. It makes it interesting. So
I love the cold weather.
Get bored. I'm glad you do, Lyndon.
I do.
Well, you have your cabin, and you get to do a little bit of country stuff, and it's fantastic.
Yep.
So
I'll be leaving tomorrow night to go back up there.
That's
nice.
Fantastic. So we're just waiting till I get to the place where I can go get my land as well. So I do like land, Shannon. I like the farm and ranch, and it's just fitting, and it's fun, and being able to go out there on a cold day with a hot cup of coffee sitting on your back porch.
Oh yeah,
It is
the
good
life.
stuff.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about you, Shannon, what you do, and what brought you into the real estate world.
Yeah, definitely. Well, currently I work at Stewart Title, and I office out of McKinney, Texas. So I got into the title insurance industry, or should I say I fell into it, because I feel like most people don't, as kids, they're not like, you know what, I think I'll be a sales rep for a title company later on in life. It just sort of happens to you. So it was a classic case of I knew someone who knew someone. I just moved to Texas about 3.5 years ago, and I was fresh out of college. So I was definitely eager to get myself out there and to start a career and that sort of thing. And my husband's aunt is actually a real estate agent, and she has been for about 10 years or over 10 years now, over in the North Litchfield Hills, Tarrant County area. And right after I moved here, she had actually been talking to somebody at a title company because she had sold him a house, and he was just like, hey, we need some help in some of our offices for marketing. And she's just like, well, I know someone who's got a communications degree. She's never been in title before, but she's young and she's bright and she's ready to get out there. And so I had about 4 or 5 interviews, and I got into title, and I had no idea what I was doing at first. And it was scary, and it was kind of like a fake it till you make it situation, which I may still be doing. I don't know. But so I started my debut at First Western Title, which was a smaller, more local title company, in the DFW area. And now I'm at Stewart Title. Stewart Title came through and acquired First Western Title at the beginning of this year. So March, right as COVID broke out, really, and all the lockdowns happened. So it was a couple of crazy months for sure. So I'm a business developer. I also teach continuing education classes for real estate agents for our North Texas team. I do probably about 4 classes a month for them, and also teach classes for loan officers as well. And so it's been a lot of fun for sure. It's been a crazy roller coaster.
It can be a crazy roller coaster, absolutely. So in real estate and lending, we are always looking at getting our continuing education, getting those classes. What classes are you teaching agents?
Teaching mostly social media. That seems to be the most popular classes. I teach a class on graphic design using Canva, because Canva is a free platform that you can go on and create flyers, business cards, postcards, whatever you want, social media posts. And so I show them how to use the platform for their own marketing, because I know a lot of people, it's kind of up to them, and they don't have super deep pockets to be able to pay a marketing company to do it for them, or maybe their brokerage doesn't offer it. So that's one of my most popular classes. Probably I definitely teach one on Facebook ads and business pages, Instagram, LinkedIn. We've also just started a class on digital mortgages. So just kind of teaching some of the technology behind that and the different types of e-closings that are available. And I'm working on a video marketing class. I'm working on a few other things in the background, but we're slowly building up the program.
Fantastic. How does that tie into your degree with communications?
It definitely, so I actually got a communications degree with an emphasis on journalism. Okay. And decided my last semester in college that I didn't want to be a journalist. So I was like, oh crap, what am I going to do now? And decided that marketing was definitely something that I learned a bit during my communications degree. We talked about social media a lot. We talked about, just being able to communicate properly, how to present yourself, how to shoot videos, stuff like that. And so when I got into marketing for the title company, I just applied all of that. I immediately started our, Instagram and Facebook pages. I started building up our Google reviews. Videos was a big thing for me. I started shooting videos all the time on just different educational topics, things that I thought might be valuable to people growing their business as I was growing mine at the same time. And so that seemed to be working really well because I was teaching them. I guess I was practicing what I was preaching. I was teaching them the things like, hey, this is what I've been doing for the last year. It really seems to be working for me. Maybe you guys should try it too. And so it's kind of like this idea of we're all in this together and we can all kind of bounce ideas off each other.
Absolutely. So a couple things. One, I think Holly is backstage now. We want to bring her in. Holly Haggard, fantastic friend. She also has a show. Hi, Holly. How are you?
Hey, how are you guys doing? Sorry, I was having a little audio trouble there.
No worries. So, Holly, this is Shannon. I don't know if you guys ever met.
No.
Shannon worked for Stuart Title. And
Hey.
Holly, tell me the name of your company.
I work for Geneva Financial.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so corporate is in Arizona. It was started by a guy, Aaron Van Trojan, who was a loan officer for a very long time. And he decided he didn't like the way corporate world was and wanted to make something better. And he wanted to make something that was really great for loan officers and the clients, obviously. But I really like what he's done with the company. And every company is going to have their ups and downs. And we all know that. The grass is not always greener. And the thing that I love about Geneva and what Aaron has done with this company is that he truly, truly cares about his employees, because he knows that if his employees are happy and he knows that if his loan officers are doing well and they're making great money, but it's not at the cost of the customer, then he's going to have a successful business. And I really love that. He's very transparent. And his wife, Telly, I cannot say enough about this woman. She is beyond amazing. And then Rachel Capel is our national director of sales. And she literally lights up my life. I mean, my life. Every time I talk to her, you know, she's this person that's in a position that can tell you what to do, but she doesn't do that. She takes it and she says, what can I do for you? And how can I help you? And how can I help your clients? And steps in if we need her. And y'all, I just can't say enough about this company, especially with everything that's going on right now, with the influx of applications, with turn times as long as they are right now. I feel so blessed. And part of my show, the Good Human series, stemmed from the company motto for Geneva, and that is be a good human. It's all about being a good human.
And Holly, I don't want to interrupt you too much, but we have Brian Poduska. Brian Poduska also has a show with us.
Yes.
And I want to give you guys a shout out to Brian.
What's up, Brian?
Brian, please introduce yourself.
What's up, guys?
We have a fantastic group of people, by the way. I don't know if you guys realize this, but this is fantastic camaraderie. We learn from each other. We grow with each other. We promote each other. It is a fantastic group. So, Brian, tell us, give us that 2 minutes. I know that you're on the road in between appointments. I greatly appreciate you being able to tell us when your show is, what your show is, what's it about, and guys, I want you to go and check out Brian Poduska's show as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks for letting me jump in, Brian. Appreciate that. And I will reiterate your comment about how awesome the Difference family is. It is a community, and we do learn from each other. One of radio pros, but we're slowly becoming radio novices. So, yeah, I know. Thanks for letting me jump in. My show is called Real Talk with Brian Poduska. It's on Thursdays at 1 p.m. There we go, a little splash there. And our focus is mostly real estate based, but we veer into very different topics. In general, as most of our shows are. We go deep on that. We've gone deep on, looking out for health insurance, and like that, one of our sponsors is a health insurance company. But yeah, so we cover a bunch of different topics on our show. And yeah, no, just thanks for having me on today, Brian. I appreciate you letting me jump in and say hello.
Absolutely. So Real Talk with Brian Poduska. Give me the date and the hour again. What is it? Thursday at 1?
Thursdays, 1 p.m.
Thursdays at 1 p.m. And guys, check out Real Talk with Brian Poduska. Fantastic show. So
yes, it is.
Well, good deal, Brian. Thank you so much. Have a happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Thanks again for jumping on. I know you're extremely busy.
Well, likewise to you guys. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your families, and we'll see you after the break here. Take care.
That sounds
guys.
great. Talk to you later. Okay, so Shannon, Holly, well, first of all, Holly, I was talking to Shannon prior to you jumping on, and she is with Stuart Title. She does a lot of classes for agents. She focuses a lot on, and Shannon, I'm just going to recap here our conversation, but social media classes, graphic design classes, Facebook ads. She's doing a video marketing class, and background is in communications and journalism. I didn't like journalism, but I love this. I love the topic because I think, especially with redefining real estate, how important is it for us to communicate properly with our clients, but also with our ads? What would you guys say about that?
I'll let you take that, Shannon.
You guys do not have to go all at once.
So how do we communicate with our social media ads? Is that the question?
No, how important is that, Shannon, as far as communicating properly, getting the right message out without, because I know that, here's my personal opinion with a lot of the ads. They can be, disingenuous. They can be insincere. They can have an appearance of grandeur, but really the really bare bones reality of it's not the same. It's incongruent. So how are we, again, redefining real estate? Are we putting out the ads that are authentic, genuine, and sincere? And how can we do that communicating properly with our consumers?
I think you hit the nail on the head as far as being genuine. The thing that people are looking for most on social media is being able to connect with other people and being able to relate. Unfortunately, especially during this year, face-to-face is always the best way to connect with people. But right now, social media is really one of the only things we have. Zoom is one of the only things we have to be able to connect with people who are even down the street from us, because we're all protecting ourselves. So definitely, as far as how are you communicating yourself through your social media and through your ads, honestly, are you just being yourself? Are you just being relatable? Are you the way you're talking and the way you're putting yourself out there? If someone were to come and have coffee with you the next day, is that the same person that they're going to see? And I think that's what people are looking for. And I think you're absolutely right. We come off maybe a little too stiff sometimes, which I've struggled with that too, for sure. A little too stiff, maybe a little too professional. And I've heard a saying in a class that I was attending actually last year for Instagram that conversational is the new professional. So the easier you make it for people to have a conversation with you or feel like they could eat dinner with you and just talk to you for hours. I mean, that's the way I think you're going to be most successful, is just by being yourself. Loosen up a little bit. Don't be so nervous. Don't take yourself so seriously.
Right.
Be willing to laugh at yourself when you mess up or you skip over your words or you trip and fall, God forbid, or whatever happens, because, life is unpredictable. So
I agree. I think that if you are, the more real you can be, and if you do mess up, man, just laugh about it and just be real, because that's who they're going to talk to. And that's going to make them feel so much more comfortable when a person feels like, hey, when I talk to that girl, she's not going to just be thinking about numbers, or she's not going to just be thinking about, her notes or whatever it may be. She's really truly engaged with who I am and who my family is and what it is that my family needs. And I think that really helps. Stop being perfectionist. And that's one of my biggest problems is I'm a perfectionist. And that's one of my biggest hurdles going through with my Good Human series. I could barely even watch the first 2 shows after I recorded them because I was like, oh my gosh, how many times did I say, you know, and it's
I have the same problem.
Yeah, just let it go. Just let it go and just talk to people and let them really know who you are.
For sure. A couple months ago, I actually compiled a little blooper video from all my videos, and I condensed all of the ums and all of the times I went and just, you know, went crazy, and it just kind of blew up, and everybody was talking about, wow, thank you for being authentic. This is me, plus maybe a few curse words or something like that. I intentionally left those out, but yeah, so I think you're absolutely right.
I love the blooper idea because it allows people to see that they don't have to be perfect either. And you know what? Honestly, who wants to watch something where they're like, oh, I think I'm going to fall asleep? If you're watching bloopers or something, you know that, hey, I'm going to go watch that show because she's going to mess up a few times and it's going to be pretty funny. And she'll laugh at herself, you know? I'd watch that over stiff.
Yeah. Yeah,
I love the fact that the communication, you know, the more authentic we become, you know, and I tell people this quite a bit is I'm really comfortable with being me, and it's taken me a long time to get there, guys. I mean, but I am really comfortable with being Brian. I am very comfortable in my own skin. I am going to mess up. I am going to pronunciate something or pronounce something. Lyndon, I might do a mindset shift different. You know, we do silly things, but to learn to laugh, to learn to, hey, listen, you know, I'm a lifelong learner, I'm coachable, and I'm always working on my communication. I'm just a real person. I had a situation not too long ago, and I had one of these major meltdowns, and I had a major meltdown with a couple of people, and they're my friends, and I said, and I apologized after, and they said, no, Brian, this is what we really like about you. You're real. You just are real. You know, it's not that perfectionism. It's not that quote unquote and this appearance. And by the way, this appearance, my wife and I just talked about this the other day, and it was fascinating because we were watching a movie, and it took place in the early 1900s. And this movie was based out of Britain, and it was the English model where they sat into their town hall and they wore the wigs and they had a different appearance. Where did this appearance come from? That we have to appear this way in order for someone to like us, or order for us to be secure, or order for us to have a good self-image and self-esteem. And I think a lot of people struggle with that, and especially tearing off those appearances to just be real. It's scary at times. But I really think it behooves us in our industry, in real estate, especially Holly with lending, you know, that people face a lot of fears. They don't want you to, they tell you that their credit is perfect. I don't know if you've ever met anybody that's told you, hey, listen, I have really sucked on my credit. I had never paid my bills. I don't pay my car payments. I've skipped a couple of mortgage payments, but I'm a real good human. And they are a good human. They just had some things, but not a lot of people are willing to tell you that up front. It's, oh yeah, I think my credit card score it's probably a little bit bad. And then you look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, a little bit is like not even right the term, but here's the plan to help them. And I know that you do that. And I love that about you. And then Shannon, you know, really critical in communicating, because you have a platform to educate both the lending community and the realtor community, that you can teach them the proper way to market, to do their graphics. So, you know, if you're standing by the Porsche that you just bought, then that's, praise God. That's perfect. But if you're standing by a Porsche that's not yours and you're putting that out as marketing, that might be a little bit disingenuous to me, you know, unless you're selling cars. But if you're selling radio spots from the difference and you're standing by a Porsche that's not yours, you're not really making the difference, are you, Lyndon?
Right.
Nope. Nope, you're not. And I would add something. One of the classes that I did a couple years ago, and I was in with real estate. I mean, in our industry, and I say our industry, I'm not in it anymore like I was, but there are thousands of people in title. There are thousands of people in mortgage. There are 1,000 real estate agents. What makes you special?
Mm-hmm.
What makes you special is you.
Right.
Your ability to be authentic is what's going to get people to know, like, and trust you.
Right.
I'm not choosing a mortgage company. I'm not choosing a real estate company. I'm not choosing a title company. They all have good things, and they should.
Mm-hmm.
I'm choosing the person that I feel that I believe is going to take care of me better than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're not presenting that, so much marketing material out there is cookie cutter. All you do is you take a name out, you put another name in, the graphics are the same. There is no individualism to it.
Right.
And, Shannon, with what you were saying about video branding and video marketing, we have the opportunity like never before to bring awareness to who we are, not just what we do. Yeah. And I think that that's the power that we all have, and we have to remember that. And you, Holly, to what you're saying about being a perfectionist, there's nothing wrong with that, but we can't have the paralysis by analysis type of mindset. We've got to just get it out there and get better as we go along. We have to critique ourselves. And we have to see. I mean, the greatest way to be better at video is to watch yourself and see what you did wrong. It's kind of like when I was coaching football.
Oh, right. You watch videos.
What made us a better team was watching how we played that night before. Right. And watching the mistakes we made, watching where, okay, we have coached you to do it this way, but yet in this game you did it this way. Mm-hmm. This is why we struggled, or the different thing, or this is why we won, because we followed and executed the game plan the way that we were coached and taught to do it. And video allows us to get better.
Right.
So that's just my 2 cents.
It's so much in our human nature to like, this is hard for us. It really is to put ourselves out there. And especially when it's more than just, hey guys, I'm me, but it's like your paycheck is on the line, your livelihood is on the line, about, as far as how much money you're going to make and that sort of thing, how you're going to provide for your family. It's really kind of putting yourself in a vulnerable position, just putting yourself out there. And our human nature is to be like, oh, I have to be perfect. That's what other people will appreciate. And so it's getting over that, and just like you said, just being yourself and doing what you got to do. So
I think
that's the hardest part, is watching yourself. Just like, oh, I sound like that. All right, whatever. Nothing I can do about it at this point.
Exactly. That's the thing. Just realizing that you can't change you, and you shouldn't change you. But where you should be a perfectionist is in your job, and how you handle files, how you handle learning and staying ahead of the game, and educating and continuing education. That is huge in this industry, is just knowing, because the industry changes every single day. There's something new. And so that's where you can be a perfectionist. And that's what I've tried to teach myself. Who cares what I look like on TV or on the screen today, or who cares about how I sound whenever as long as I know in my mind that I'm doing my work as a perfectionist, I'm good.
Brian, I want to jump in real quick, if you don't mind, just to piggyback on something that Shannon said. One of the things that I've noticed with people in doing their video branding is they only video brand when they need a paycheck. So it looks like always a salesy approach. That's not authentic. That is desperate. And your branding and your marketing should be done consistently all the time. More of who I am and what kind of person I am, rather than what I need you to do for me. Mm-hmm. So those are just, and I see that, and I think that that's where, when you look at the analytics of a lot of people that do just their video billboard, I call them, that's what turns people off. The minute that they think you're just trying to sell me something, I'm moving on to something else.
Well, another thing I think too, and this is just, sorry, go ahead, Ryan.
No, that's right. Go ahead, Holly. I'm going to
I was
jump
just
in right after you.
one thing that I think people need to be careful of too is, when you're on social media, everybody's watching you. And so the number one thing I think that people need to get away from is complaining. Stop complaining on social media. You complain about a lender, or this lender did this, or this real estate agent did this, or this borrower did this. When you're continuously complaining on social media, that brings a bad vibe, in my opinion. Things are going to happen, and just know that in my life, I know God's got this. And so as long as you can just give it up to him or to whoever your higher power is, I think that that's going to help. But just keep everything positive, especially if you're working your business on social media.
Well, I think the social media platforms are a great tool. I would like to, I'm not a transactional person. I like transactions, absolutely, don't we all?
Right.
And we need those transactions. But again, going back to something that I say a lot in my workshops and my seminars, money is a horrible leader. It's a great follower. So when you're chasing after money and you're making it all transactional and it seems salesy, and it kind of gives you this nauseating feeling. It gives me, I don't know about everybody else, it gives me a nauseating feeling. Oh, it's just fake. It's not real. So again, kudos to you, Shannon, on teaching communication properly and teaching how to do proper graphics and how to really articulate your brand message. And Lyndon, you and I have talked about that signature message and your unique stamp on life. And we've had courses on that, because I teach on core values. I teach on communication style. I teach on who's around you in your community, because you're the average of the top 5 people you hang around with the most. And then I teach about your passion, and we combine all of those, and that actually becomes your signature message, your true authentic self going out there. So now when you're talking about real estate, you talk about the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, the arduous parts, the laborious side of it, where you're having to find paperwork or trying to scrape up, enough funds or whatever it is, because it's a curveball to a lot of people, and it's not a cookie cutter industry. I wish it was. Not really. I would get bored.
Yeah.
Tell you the truth.
I'd get bored.
I would get really bored. I love the challenges. I love how unique it is. But because it's unique, my question to you, because it's unique, do you think that we need to show how unique and transparent we really are? Is that a question that nobody wanted to ask? Julie Altumus would go, no.
Ask that question again.
Okay, so having a real unique industry such as real estate, because everything, from credit to lending to title, to even buying and selling a house, it's all unique to the individual. Would it be better for us to be extremely transparent, real, authentic, to show our uniqueness to attract or to help other people say, hey, listen, this is a unique situation and it's going to work out?
Absolutely. I think, because people need to go into every transaction knowing that it's not going to be like their neighbors. Just because their neighbor got this rate or this loan amount or this payment doesn't mean that yours is going to be that way. And I think that we have to let everybody know that your scenario, whether you've got a great credit score, a low loan to value, you've got a lot of money to put down on a house, is not going to be the same scenario as your neighbor or your brother or your sister. Or it's not going to be the same as the way it was when your parents did loans, or not did loans, but received a loan. I think that we have to be very transparent and let people know that, because it's completely different than it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Back then it was like, if you don't reduce your interest rate by 1% or 2%, it's not worth doing. And it's just not the case anymore.
I also think being transparent and being authentic, you're just naturally going to attract people who are either similar to you or who can really appreciate your honesty and your transparency. And it just makes it for a better transaction all around when you're working with like-minded people.
Yep.
So if you're just putting yourself out there and be like, this is who I am, take it or leave it. You'd be surprised, I think, by how many people will take you up on that. And if they don't, they don't. You know what I mean? It's not the end of the world. I feel
Right.
like it took me probably a solid 2 years to really figure that out. You know, I can host all the classes, I can do all the events and the lunches, and I can give them all the marketing materials in the world. But if for some reason our personalities just don't click, they're probably going to work with somebody else, and it's okay. And I can focus on the people who I do click with. I definitely think there's such a thing as being too transparent to the point where it's just you lay all your personal stuff out on the table. There's kind of a fine line between being authentic, like this is who I am, but also not crossing that line into let me tell you all my family secrets and let me tell you about so-and-so down the street and how their loan went and it was a total nightmare and stuff like that. So there's definitely a balance in there.
Yes, professional transparency.
Mhm.
Okay, I like that term, professional transparency. Love that. I really believe, I know that God gave us a body, but He also gave us a brain. And when we use wisdom and we use knowledge and we use discernment, we don't talk a lot about discernment. It's not a word that I see floating out there. It's not trending right now. It really should be trending. It is not trending, but discernment, to be able to know and to discern whether it's right or wrong, or whether it should be displayed, or just, hey, listen, we're just gonna not talk about this thing, and to have that wisdom to know whether I should or should not. I really believe that we should do that in our marketing. And one of the things about being transparent and authentic and genuine and real, it's no different than the term customer service to me.
Mhm.
Because how many people would raise your hand in your business and say you have good customer service? Well, if you surveyed 100 businesses, they would probably all tell you, 100 out of 100, hey, I have good customer service, right? They wouldn't tell you that my customer service sucks. We never call anybody back. We're really unorganized. We're not disciplined. We really are not perfectionists at all, Holly. We don't care about that. We just wanted your money. There's not a business out there that's going to tell you that, but we know that we've dealt with businesses just like that. So when we tell people that we're real, we're authentic, we're true, we're transparent, I think, again, those are all words that everybody would say that they are, but they might not be. So how would we define transparency, being real, being a good human, Holly, being that genuine person in our marketing communication platforms, our one-on-one, without using those terms?
I think listening is key. Listening to the person and really listening to them, and not thinking the whole time, how am I going to respond to this? I mean, there's always a part of that for sure, but truly listening and just kind of seeing where they're at in life, what their personality is like, excuse me, and you can kind of meet them halfway in a sense. I wouldn't say like I'm Shannon Williamson. You'll see me on the street or in the grocery store, at work. I'm pretty much the same across the board, but I for sure will. I will kind of fit myself around the other person based on maybe what their needs are, or the type of conversations that they like to have, or the type of communication that they prefer. And so I think listening for sure is key, and just really trying to get a feel for, okay, where are they at in life, and what is going to be important and valuable for them, and how can I fit into that puzzle, so to speak.
I have a question. Also, and Brian, I know you and I have had this discussion many times. So, but how important?
Does that mean I can answer it?
No, that means you can't answer it. You can answer it after the two ladies answer.
That's
How
the girl.
important? How important in finding the transparency and being authentic is the self-awareness and introspection that allows you to be prepared in presenting yourself. Because my opinion is I don't think there's enough people in the industry that really take the time to do that. They imitate a mentor.
Mhm.
They imitate other people that they see doing things on social media, and they're copycats, and that's not
Mhm.
authentic.
Mhm.
Okay, it may fit a lot of what you're doing, and it may fit into that fake it till you make it category at some point. But I think in order for us to be authentic, first of all, we've got to take the time to be self-aware. We've got to take the time to do some introspection. And then we've got to prepare ourselves to deliver what we have realized about ourselves. What do you ladies think about that?
Lyndon, I don't know if this is going to answer that question or not, but one of the things that kind of came to mind when you were saying that was when somebody asks you a question, I think being authentic, when somebody asks you a question, don't just answer it with what you think they want to hear, or don't answer it with a guess. If you don't know, say you don't know. It is okay. You are a human being. You don't have to know every single thing. And if you just say, look, you know what? That's a great question. I will get back to you. Or,
Amen.
things change in the industry all the time. Let me just make sure, because I don't want to say, oh yeah, that's how you do it. It's this, and this, when I don't really truly know 100%. Then saying, you know what? I'm pretty sure that it's this, but I want to make sure. I want to double check, because things change all the time. And let me just make sure so that I'm giving you the right information. Because the last thing you want to do is tell somebody to do something that may have been right 3 years ago and it's completely different now. And then it messes everything up. They're going to lose faith in you. They're going to lose faith in the show. They're going to lose faith in the industry. And I see that a lot where I call typical salespeople, because I don't like to call myself a salesperson, because I don't like to be sold. Goes back to transactional and relational, but just admitting if you don't know a specific answer, and then finding out and bringing the correct answer to that person.
Don't we have to find that within ourselves first through our own introspection, and see if that's who we are?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. I think there's a certain level of, self-awareness, being aware of who you are before you're going out there and putting yourself out there, and a certain level of emotional intelligence that will help you succeed. I actually just attended a webinar on, the tie between emotional intelligence and people who succeed in their businesses, just how you're able to communicate with other people, how you're able to put them first, so to speak, above yourself, and how that helps people. So I would say, if you're questioning whether or not you are self-aware, or if you have good emotional intelligence, and we can always be getting better at that for sure, seek it out. Go read a book, go watch some webinars, always be learning. Like Holly was saying earlier on, you can never learn too much. You can never be improving too much. And that should be a continuous thing too. It's never,
Yes.
Okay, I've reached the point of peak emotional intelligence and self-awareness. I'm good now. I would say if you think that, then you're even further probably than you think you are. So always be learning for sure.
That is awesome. So I'm going to take a quick shout out to our sponsor, Bivette Grill. Bivette Grill is a restaurant in Plano, Texas. And if you guys have not had the privilege of dining there, I would recommend it for you and your family. Bivette Grill, I've met the owners. They're lovely people. The staff there is fantastic. The food, you'll want to go back. And if you mention Bivette Grill, that you've heard about Bivette Grill on Redefining Real Estate or The Difference, they will actually give you a free appetizer. So enjoy your holiday weekend and take a quick trip over to Bivette Grill. Enjoy fine dining and lovely food, lovely people. So you'll be able to really enjoy yourself there. So thank you, Bivette Grill, for being a sponsor for Redefining Real Estate. You guys are what helps us stay on the air and and grow and hopefully help more people and reach more people. So let's, Lyndon, you talked about self-awareness, you talked about introspection, and Shannon, you mentioned listening, and Holly, you have mentioned listening as well, and with a lot of basically a lot of emphasis on being transparent and real, which I love this topic here. So back in the day when I took sales training, and I took a lot of sales classes, guys. I just did. And it was communicating, and it was typically listen for the problem, understand the problem, and then you're supposed to come up with a solution. And it just didn't jive with me. It didn't feel right. I'm like, well, why do I want to tell people they have a problem? We might have a problem, we might have a situation. We're going to have some issues. I mean, it's inevitable. Something is going to go a little bit sideways. There's not very many perfect transactions out there. I realize that. But coming up with a strategy, being solution oriented, it made sense and it sounded all right, but it just didn't give me a good wholehearted vibe in there. It just didn't. So when I went through the self-development, improvement, and reading, and Shannon taking the classes and having the emotional intelligence, but also having the self-awareness, the introspection, and began to do that. And you talk about listening. What are we supposed to be listening for? It is going to be the second question. Okay. But should we be asking certain questions and then listening for the answers to those questions? Because being genuine and authentic, I know my ideal customer profile. I know it. Why? Because I've worked on it. I've developed it, and I know what I resonate with and what I don't resonate with. I know that I have boundaries and they have boundaries. So if we resonate, we're probably going to be a great fit. If we don't resonate, Shannon and Holly, you guys are right. We're not a great fit for, I'm going to speak for myself. I'm not a great fit for everybody. I know that. And everybody's not a great fit for me. But the people I work with, I have found there are resonating factors in that relationship. So if I'm truly introspective and I'm truly growing as a person and a professional, does it behoove me? Is it right for us to ask questions regarding the resonating factors and listen to see if they're pinging back, yes, this is resonating, or no, it's not?
I think so, very much so, but I think we also need to be somewhat flexible. So for me, for instance, if I have a real estate agent that refers a borrower to me and we don't meet eye to eye, or we don't see things the same way, I'm not going to just turn that borrower away because we don't fit. So I think we need to be, as business people, we need to be somewhat flexible with our emotional relationship, or what am I trying to say? Yeah, I guess our emotional relationship with our referral partners too, because if I say, you know what, this guy, we just don't see eye to eye, and I've had that happen where, and it's rare because I'm usually really good about, kind of figuring out what that person, what type of person that person is, or how they like to work. Do they like small talk? Do they not like small talk? Do they want to just get to the point? Just tell me what my rate is, whatever it may be. I think we need to be somewhat flexible and learn how to conform to what it is they are looking for as a client, what it is that they are looking for, that they need. And you can tell a lot of times what somebody needs, or how they work, by their tone of voice, by their answers. Are they short answers? Are they, bubbly answers? You can kind of figure out who it is you're talking to by listening to their voice, number one, and by listening to how quickly they respond, or if it's kind of a lallygag, oh, I'm doing so good, and my daughter did this, and then you know, hey, they like small talk and they want to get to know, and they want you to know their family and everything. And then you've got the business guys that are like, look, I got 5 minutes for this conversation, and you better tell me this, this, and this, and this, or we're just done. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'm going to be honest, you know, I'll tell you this, this, and this, but that may not get you to where the answer that you want today, kind of thing. So I think we need to be flexible with how we treat each client based on their want.
Well, absolutely. So that would just be diving into communication styles. So I teach the DISC, and you understand the business first, friends second, or friends first, business second. And I have been able to identify how to communicate. So where I don't mind being uncomfortable is adapting to someone else's communication style. But even in the adapting and being flexible to somebody's communication style, I'm fine with that. I always want to bring the true, authentic self in there. So we might have some really good discussions on, you know, hey, listen, as far as in real estate, I like data. In lending and hopefully in title, we really need the correct data, because if you're dealing with incorrect data or outdated data, then what happens is it skews the process, because you're eventually going to have to take care of it. You just are. Mm-hmm. And it sets it up where if I would have known this, I probably would have positioned us this way. But I didn't know this. This was uncovered in the middle of the transaction, and then it's a crud moment. And then we have to go back to the whiteboard and figure out the great strategy. So even if I'm adapting to communication styles, I one of my core values is truth. Just tell me the truth. No judgment, no pointing fingers, no shame. Let's just get into this gig, and I'm going to tell you if I can do it or not. And I can always adapt to business first, friends second, or friends first, business second. That's or bullet points or analytics. Those are the things that I've worked on. Adaptable. I could not say that, Lyndon. Don't make fun of me. Or the flexible nature is easier than going into it blindsided and just putting a smile on my face saying that we can do anything, because we don't do anything. And that was my point is how can we go in there? We might have to tell them, hey, listen, if you're willing to just tell us the truth up front, then it's just going to be a lot easier process. When I was coaching, part of my coaching agreement is the best experience that we have seen with our clients are the clients that are completely transparent.
Yes.
So I have a question. I have a question about the listening. If we are not committed and skilled at listening, will we miss some unique opportunities to serve? And when I talk about that, what I mean is a lot of times in mortgage, and Holly, I was in mortgage, so I understand that we go in with a predetermined way we're going to serve people and what we believe is the opportunity. Holly, you were talking about that, about how things are different now than they were 3 years ago. But by sitting and listening, they're going to reveal certain ways we can serve them that we may miss out on. That really goes a long way in building our brand and what our reputation is going to be later on. And they may not realize the opportunity that they're describing to us. But if we're not listening to them, if we're just assuming that this is the way it is, here's the cookie cutter process that we're going to go through, and you don't give them an opportunity to express some concerns or interest, then we bypass a lot of the opportunities other than just the opportunity to make a commission.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
So
we've got to dig in and ask the questions and get to a point where we understand where they're coming from. And Brian, I know you were saying that nobody wants to hear they have a problem. And that's one of the things that I've learned is everybody does have a problem. And it's how you fix that problem that is going to help them. So like I was saying in one of the other shows, if you're a real estate investor, Your problem is that you don't have that house yet that you're wanting to buy. That's the problem. So it doesn't necessarily mean that a problem is a bad thing. It's a problem to solve. And if once we dig in and find out what the problem is that they are wanting to fix, that's when we go in and we determine how we can help. And again, it's going to be different for every single person.
Absolutely. So I looked at that and I just changed the wording on that, Holly, for me, just to satisfy my brain was, and that's the honest truth on that deal. I said, well, let me find the area I can serve. How can I help you meet your needs and your goals? Now, we might uncover a can of worms and we're just going to deal with that, and that's fine. And we might not, and that's fine too. So I'm going to figure out where I can serve, how I can serve the best to get you to the end result that you are desiring. And where the sales training I took was really, really salesy. It was that old school salesy approach. I read the books. We didn't have videos back then, so I cannot tell you I watched videos. That's old. And I was taking sales classes before computers came out. I mean, it was horrible. I'm really not that old. I'm just
Same
but
I was told at a previous company that I worked for, and it was more of a transactional type company. It was outgoing calls. It was make 100 calls a day, that kind of thing. Here's your script. I can't do a script. I can't do a script, because when I do a script, it's not authentic. And I can't be like that. I have to be authentic. And so I was always told I would never be good in this industry, because not always told, but I was told by a couple of managers at that place that I would not do well at this company because I've got to keep dialing, dial, do your script, stick to your script. Don't go off script. Don't try to get to know their family. You're wasting too much time. You could be off that call and on another one. And I just couldn't be that way. And I was one of their top loan officers. And it's like, I look back and I think, I'm one of your top loan officers, and yet I'm relational.
Yep.
And you're telling me to be transactional.
And that's what I love about the difference, and I love about our relationships is that we are a relational group of people. We just are. So Holly, real quick, we have 3 minutes left, and then I want to sign off. And Lyndon, I appreciate all of you guys. I guess Shannon.
We lost her feed. So
we lost Shannon, but I want to wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving. You guys are you're just great friends. So I mean, if we had to put a village or a tribe or a team together, I would consider, each of you, and we have a lot of us in our group that are just true family. And it's a blessing to work with you guys and work alongside of you guys. So that is part that I'm extremely thankful for. And I want to make sure that I convey that to you guys, communicate that properly, because you guys are great. So Holly, tell
got a minute and a half.
Tell us about your show.
I'll tell you a little bit about my show, but I want to give Brian a little plug real quick. Brian is the listing agent on for selling my mom's home. And let me tell you, I wish I had more than 30 seconds to talk about him. But if anybody is looking for a real estate agent, you will not find a more relational person than Brian. He really gets to know his clients. And I mean, I get chills when you said, tribe. I love the word tribe. And that's what this is. That's what the difference is. And I think everybody should become a part of our tribe. But I want to thank you. And that's one of the things I am thankful for right now, is that you have been helping my mom. She's such a quiet person and doesn't know the industry, and you have helped her feel comfortable. And that means more to me than you have any idea.
Thank you.
So my next show is tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. And I have a few people on that I think that you will enjoy hearing. We've got a small business here in Prosper, Texas that I'm going to talk to, and a couple of others that are in the real estate business. And then Brian, I believe you're going to pop in and say hi as well. So I'm excited about tomorrow's show, tomorrow at 3 Central Standard.
Excellent.
All right.
Well, guys, thank you so much, and I appreciate you tuning in. If you would share this show, we are growing. We're excited about that. We're excited about you watching it, and if you have any comments or questions or ideas for us, or even topics that we could talk about, we would love to hear from you. So again, happy Thanksgiving. Have a blessed day. Have a blessed weekend. Enjoy your family, and think about the things that you're thankful for. And we will see you back next Tuesday. Fantastic program, fantastic guests as well, on 11 o'clock on Tuesday Central Daylight Time. I look forward to seeing you there. God bless.
The Difference is a proud supporter of the following nonprofits. Creek and Timber Legacy, providing outdoor learning, hunting, and firearm therapy for veterans, first responders, and children with serious illness. You can find more info at creekandtimberlegacy.org. And Sharp Shoes. Through local schools and shelters, Sharp Shoes helps provide new shoes for countless needy people and their families. You can find more info at sharpshoes.org.